There were some arrests and an action for a livable climate that took place in Stamford. And I'll be speaking with Nick Katkevich of Voluntown, who took part in it. He's a member of Capitalism versus the Climate, and he also works with Fossil Free Rhode Island. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Stan.
Describe the action that took place last week in Stamford.
Well, in Stamford is the United Bank of Switzerland. They have a headquarter building there in Stamford, a very, very large building. UBS funds is one of the biggest funders for mountaintop removal, coal mining in Appalachia, and they also fund the coal industry as a whole. So in solidarity with an organization called Hands Off Appalachia, which had an ongoing campaign against UBS, and also in solidarity with an initiative called Fearless Summer, we decided to take action at that UBS building in Stamford. A group of 4 of us blockaded the main entrance to that building. 2 people were sitting in revolving doors, and April and I were in front of the building with the sign, which was and on the sign was the slogan for Hands Off Appalachia in this campaign, which basically says Appalachia is locked to dirty financing, and with the understanding that UBS, whose logo is a set of keys, can unlock Appalachia from that dirty financing.
Mm-hmm. And then how long were you there blocking the door?
We were blocking the door. Of course, immediately security came out and demanded that we leave. We were probably there a good 30, maybe even 40 minutes before police showed up, at which point they gave us a warning if we didn't move that we'd be placed under arrest. Of course, we didn't move, and 4 of us were placed under arrest and started going through the booking process.
And what were you charged with?
We were charged with 2 misdemeanors. Breach of the peace 2, which is which is the second highest misdemeanor, and then criminal trespass 1, which is the highest level misdemeanor.
As I understand it, that latter charge could give a significant jail time.
Right. The maximum sentence, I think, for the combined 2 is 1.5 years in prison. I think we fully expect not to be sentenced to any jail time, but they can definitely be serious charges.
Let's talk about mountaintop mining. I think most of us, when we think of mining, think of the old pictures of the men going down elevators deep into the earth with pickaxes. And what is mountaintop mining?
It's a relatively new way for extracting coal. Essentially what they do is clear the top of mountains. First they remove all the trees, all the brush, all the topsoil, and then they start basically blowing off the top of the mountains. They'll remove 500 to 800 feet of off the top of the mountain during this process, blowing it up, and then basically it allows them to extract the coal in a more simpler process, which takes less manpower. But this process is very dangerous for local communities. Firstly, the process of actually, detonating the dynamite to blow up the mountains can send rocks flying to nearby neighborhoods, can crack water wells and windows, and then just like altering the geography in such a way, taking the tops off these mountains, filling in valleys with this sludge and with the waste, poisons waters. It also, has been shown to increase flooding in those areas. So it's a very destructive means for extracting coal.
Is it safer for the coal workers?
Well, one of the things actually, just on an economic level, this process takes such a small amount of manpower that it's actually really hurt mining communities in an economic sense because, so few people are required, in that process compared to traditional coal mining. So it's actually led to a lot of layoffs in the coal mining industry. I'm not sure, the safety are versus doing the actual coal mining. But overall, it's very dangerous for the communities and, poisons water. So overall, it's very damaging.
And what about the bigger issue of coal and global warming? I mean, even the president now is recognizing that coal is very dirty, so to speak, in the amount of carbon that it produces.
Right. Yeah. So, coal power plants are, one of the leading contributors in the world to CO2 emissions. Of course, with global warming, it's really important that we move as quickly as possible away from fossil fuels and to renewable sources of energy. Of course, also, coal emissions, have mercury in them, which lead to all sorts of health problems. Studies have shown that it also leads to asthma, increased risk of cancer. So overall, coal, if you think about, we're digging this black kind of dark stuff up from the earth and we're burning it. It's very dangerous for our health.
Well, the last question is, you're facing the courts, and if people wanted to help you with your legal expenses, what might they do?
You can go to our Capitalism versus the Climate website and donate there. Firstly, we may have legal fees in terms of, lawyers that are offering to help at a discounted rate. And also, the charges we face, there could be lofty fines as well. So the website is capitalism and then VS for versus climate.wordpress.com.
Good, and we'll type it out and put it right with this entry. Well, thanks a lot for talking with us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.